So Arsenal 3, Fulham 0. Arsenal are 6 points clear over to the Blue Sharks up in Mane on Monday, and we're 5 games away from doing a double, which has never been done at this club before. Today we see Skelly in midfield. Yeah, we see Calafiori at left back. Apparently he had a little bit of a scare in the warm-up, so it could have been Skelly back at left back, but Skelly man of the match performance. Yeah, the striker that we need to have words about in a minute is now, the highest scoring attacker forward, whatever you want to call them, at this club in the season in all comps since Alexis Sanchez joined us and had his debut season. He's only 5 goals behind Thierry Henry's debut season in all comps, and everyone wanted him sold. He's only 8 behind Ian Wright's debut season in all comps. 21 goals for our striker, Trossard today.
20, Lee,
21.
Oh, yes, it is 20.
He's on 21. Thank you very much.
That's right. He was on 19. He was on 19 because of the penalty in the Metropolitano. And, yes, so he's got...
Big 40. Game, cometh the hour, cometh the man.
So he's got 14 goals.
Yeah, which is one higher than the German Giraffe 29 has ever scored in a Premier League season. He's been here 5 seasons. And they all wanted him to save the club.
Let's talk about football then.
Very quickly, shout out to Kenny Ken 1972 on Insta. I'll share your post in a second, my friend. And make sure you get them safe. Happy bank holiday weekend for you guys in England as well. And Kenny, that first half, I'm glad you see some entertaining football, but I think the second half showed some of the players need to leave. I think that highlighted who needs to go. What do you make of it?
First and foremost, it's a game of 2 halves, but you've got to look at the necessities of the first half. The game was won in the first half. First and foremost, Bukayo Saka, I wish he... I've spoken to my good friend Yusuf. I've just seen him off at Finsbury Park Station. And he says it was one of Fulham's worst performances, that they just didn't turn up. But it doesn't matter. You've got to beat what's in front of you. And if people give you space, you've got to take advantage. Bukayo Saka was fantastic today, especially in the first 15 minutes. I thought Leonardo Trossard was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But that's the thing. That's why I call him a dibbly-dobbly, because he'll have a performance like this, and then the next game it'll be like, well, kind of what you expect, a no-show. Gyökeres, you've got to give him some credit because he took his chances really well. Probably should have had actually in the second half, but you've got to look at Miles Lewis-Skelly. I mean, where has he been all their life? I mean, he was strong in the tackle, he was passing through the lines, and it coincided with his performance that we played our best football, and it was a great opportunity. But from a second, I understand what you mentioned in the second half, but you've got to think about it professionally. Just to remember, from a footballing point of view and a kind of a sort of like physiotherapist point of view, we've had Saka. We have to manage Saka's minutes. Remember, we've just lost Odegaard a game. We've also lost, Havertz. So in a situation where we've got to manage our games. So if the game's won at 3-0. Sometimes in the setting off, you've got to look at the situation and say, right, over to you, Fulham. We're not going to lose this game. Let's just sort of kind of like reserve our energy because we've got another emotional game on Tuesday against Madrid. So in that sort of respect, it's sort of instant. Sometimes you've got to use your head as well as your heart. We've got some Arsenal fans around us singing. They're very happy. So
5 games from a double, Kenny.
Well, but you've got to take one game at a time. But one thing you've got to do is you've got to be professional in terms of like managing the minutes. And I think that's what we did. Is that sometimes you could go gun ho. You could look for the 4th. You could look for the 5th. You could look for the 6th. Or you could do what we did and think, you know what? It's another game. Substituted Declan Rice. He brought on, like I said, Zubimendi for him. Once again, he didn't bring on Nolgard, but Declan Rice has had a rest. Now, when we play Atletico Madrid, we're going to be a lot better than Fulham.
Yeah, I thought Fulham were poor today, and the thing is, I think that's because we made them look poor. I mean, Eze, I thought he was outstanding. Trossard, that was his best performance in this calendar year in 26.
Yeah,
I thought Saka, that was the best performance Saka's had for a long time. It took him about 5-10 minutes to get going. Yeah, but then he put Raul Jimenez on his bum cheeks, set up the first goal. And that's what I keep saying about the striker as well. Yeah, like the striker's first touch should be a shot. Today, his first touch was a shot twice. He should have probably had another one. Leno made a mad save and then Saka put it wide. Yeah, I was a bit gutted that he subbed him off, but at the same time, he has to save him for that game on Tuesday.
Definitely.
I hear it. But then when I said like Skelly, by the way, what a performance from him. Yeah, to come into the team as a left back and not be good enough at left back. Yeah. And I've said it multiple times. Yeah, he ain't good enough at left back, can he? He ain't good enough for this club at left back.
Yeah.
Put him in his position and let's see what he can do. And everyone will say it's a poor Fulham team. They were pushing for top 6 today.
Yeah, but you got to remember there are some teams that away from home they're absolutely hopeless, but at home they're fantastic, and you've probably got to put Fulham in that category. But Brentford fall in that category as well. A lot of people expecting Brentford to do something to get here next week, but if you look at the majority of the points that Brentford have got and Fulham have got, most of those points are at Craven Cottage and the GTEC Stadium. And you look at Fulham's performance against Aston Villa and you think, right, they're going to do something. But let's not forget, they went away and Anfield, got absolutely smashed against the Liverpool teams that are a bit inconsistent and different. And yet, you know what happened? They got absolutely smashed. So they've got a bit of form. And, one of my good friends, Mohammed, reminded me that Fulham are not very good travellers and they do tend to get smashed away from home. So it's a good opportunity. And, what we did in the first half was that we bullied them. We bullied them physically and mentally. And we played a very fast tempo. But you and I know to do that for 90 minutes in lieu of games against Madrid and in lieu of games against West Ham, it's going to be a very difficult game because West Ham lost today. I think we're in a stage where we've got to remember where we've been this season when it comes to like player fatigue and player injuries. And sometimes if you go gun ho in every game, you're not going to have anything left for the Madrid. And that's the situation. We've got a very good chance to get to the Champions League final. Only a second Champions League final. So perhaps you've got to understand where the manager's going, because at the end of the day, if he goes gung ho and we've got nothing left to take, it's on him. He's got to make some decisions. He's got to listen to physio. He's got to listen to the players as well. And let's not forget, if you want Saka to do something this season, then you've got to play him in short bursts. As much as you're not
See, I was happy
big fan of Madueke.
Yeah, I was happy to see him take off Declan Rice, because I was like, if Declan gets injured, that's a long night on Tuesday without Declan in the team. And the thing is, you're right what you said a minute ago. Yeah, the second half was never going to live up to the hype of the first half because we ain't done it all season. Right, but at the same time, when I said at the start about that second half showed some of the players that need to leave.
Lee, before you start, talk amongst yourself, because I might go through a tunnel. So
no, that's fine.
Just talk amongst yourself. I'm not going to answer you because you might not be clear. So because Hornsey's, my next station is going to only be about a minute. So you talk and I listen.
No, that's fine. Yeah, I was going to say that second half. Yeah, when I see Madueke come on, I was a bit disappointed because I was like, oh, here we go. But now it's an opportunity for him to stamp his authority on the game when we're 3-0 up against a team that we bullied, like you said. Yeah, and that was the best word to describe it. We bullied them. Yeah, but then that was I said this on my fan cam. That was one of the worst performances I've ever seen from a professional footballer. He was rubbish. Gabby Jesus, comes on. And I'm like, okay, cool. We're bringing Gabby on. I was gutted the striker went off. I want him to get his hat-trick, but I understand it. We're playing Tuesday and it's a massive game, biggest game of the season. And he was just as bad. And it's like, then Zubimendi comes on and everything's going backwards again. Yeah. And I'm like, come on, man. Ben White today, when he walks off the pitch, you wouldn't have seen it in the stadium. When he walked off the pitch, he looked like he knows he's done at this club. That's how it come across. Maybe I'm just reading too much into it, but he was awful. And we didn't really get challenged defensively. He was crap. And he's been crap for the last 2 games.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why obviously we're out of the tunnel, but that's why you always got to remember one thing is that without him in the team, you've got to utilise Mosquera more, and that's what the manager's been doing. He is going to start benching in matches, but when it comes to a situation when teams may up the tempo, which Fulham did, but they're not good enough, on Tuesday that when we do play against Atletico, that there is going to be a spell in the game where they are going to sort of like make themselves difficult to beat. They're going to make themselves compact, but it's going to be a dangerous game against us to do that. Try and do that for 90 minutes. So they are going to get bodies forward. They are going to sort of press and win the set and balls. They are going to try and do the overloads, and that's where Madueke will come into it.
Yeah, the thing is, Madueke's best performance have actually been in the Champions League, funny enough.
Well, yeah, I'm not. Yeah, and that's the thing. But remember, you've got to look at Madueke. There's a role for Madueke in his team. As much, he's never going to be another Saka. But the thing about it is that we've had to use Noni because Bukayo hasn't been fit. He's had secondary injuries. We knew this was going to happen. You know, as much as we were a bit surprised by the signing. But I suppose it does make common sense. But we do know with Noni Madueke, if we're expecting a player to play big consistent, where we're not expecting too much. We know with Noni, it's 2 steps forward, probably 5 back, and sometimes you accept it because you have to carry Noni Madueke because of the greater good. Because if you play Max Dowman and he's not consistent enough, and the manager keeps on taking it off, you've got to use your brain with Max Dowman. As exciting as he is, there's still some things that Max Dowman did wrong. For instance, there was a situation where Max Dowman went for glory. Jesus is a great position. All Jesus needed was a little pass from Max. Gets one touch, gets out of his feet, boom, puts it in the back of the net. But Max Dowman was thinking about a crowd because in a game like we got today, as much as Fulham are not great. In fact, they were absolutely terrible. You can't play exhibition football. It's still a Premiership match. You still got to play to the pattern because at the end of the day, what if Fulham get a goal? And you've taken off all your best players, and it becomes leery. That's why something Max has got to learn. I'm not putting Max down. I'm just saying, from a professional point of view, there are certain things he did I didn't like. But when you talk about Noni Madueke, you are going to. I think, and I spoke to a lot of people, we probably envisaged that it's probably going to be a game where it could be 120 minutes. It could get the penalties. Now, you and I know that Bukayo Saka can't play all those 120 minutes. He can't play the whole 90. So, yes, if it's a situation where they're in front and they're probably a couple of goals up, I fully understand the clamour for Maxwell. But from a footballing point of view, he might well start Noni Madueke because the thing about what we've got to do on Tuesday is that we need players not only to try and control possession. When we're out of possession, they need to have defensive eyes in the back of their head, and that's where we didn't need it against Fulham. We're going to need it on Tuesday.
Before I let you go, and bless up always, what was the atmosphere like? Because I said this to Matty and Ollie, yeah, I've not seen that stadium so full after full time since normally the last day of the season when everyone stays.
You know what? I think what's happened, right, is that the pennies begin to drop, where people like Paul Mercer and the media built it up that if we do win, we have exercised some good pressure on Man City. There's an assumption, maybe it's a deluded assumption that Man City will drop points, may lose at Bournemouth, but let's not forget we went there. I mean, Bournemouth are not this mighty team that, all of a sudden we're winning Champions Leagues. They're just a very, very good side who on their day can beat anyone. But you'll still put your money on Man City. Everton, we beat them at Goodison Park. Man United have gone there and won. Man City haven't lost against Everton at Goodison Park since 2017 when Everton won 4-0. And I believe, and that was Pep's first season. Since then, Man City rarely draw there. So you've got to keep on winning your games. Again, the Champions League is one of the things why people are excited because winning, brings in confidence, doesn't it? We won last week against Newcastle. It wasn't particularly great. We looked good against Atletico during the first half. Second half, we were riding their luck. Could have nicked it by a penalty. It's still disputed. Some people say it was a dive. Some people say it's a penalty. And then when you see football like that in the first half, and you see how we're moving the ball quickly, we're winning our duels, we're attacking at pace, we're creating chances, the strikers put them away, we look like we can get 4 or 5. Crowd want to see that. We want to be entertained. You entertain us, and you give us. Then when you entertain us, we have things to look forward to. So we're all looking forward to the Champions League. It's this stage of the season. You've got to be excited. It's a Champions League semi-final. It's at home. we're not travelling to Paris. We're not travelling to Barcelona. We're not travelling to Madrid. We're at home. Got an opportunity where it's 1-1.
They rested their whole starting 11 from the other night
And so they bloody
1-2
well
nil.
should. And so they should. You've got to remember there was a knock to Simeone.
Sorloth wasn't in the squad either. Neither was Simeone.
It was Sorloth would be used this Tuesday, I can promise you, because it's a situation where it's all or nothing for them. So he's already playing his tactics for for Tuesday. He's already got these scenarios when if they go behind, if they're in front, if it's 0-0 at 90 minutes, Simeone will have a plan. And I think Mick Arteta's got to remember that Madrid will come with a game plan. He's got to find a way to like I said, unlock that key, because at the end of the day, Madrid would be more than happy with it for it to go extra time. They will look, and penalties itself. They're not very great at penalties. Remember their last penalty shootout in the Champions League lost to Real Madrid last year. Let's not forget that.
I think they've lost. I think they've lost their 4 out of 5 of their last penalty shootouts.
Well, let's not forget the Copa del Rey. They lost to Sociedad on penalties as well. So as much as they would like to go penalties, if they feel let's not think they're going to go penalties. Let's not forget, 6 years ago, they won 2-0 they won 2-0 Madrid. They lost. They were losing 2-0 at Anfield. Got to extra time. Liverpool's legs ran out because Liverpool were emotional. What happened? They went and won 3-2 in extra time. So they're prepared for every scenario. And let's not forget, without a record of fatigue and players playing with injuries, that may go in their favour. So we've got to look at the situation. We've got to prepare for every eventuality. But we've got to remember one thing: find a way. Eze, this is your game. Remember, Fulham gave you space. Atletico won't give you the space, so you've got to try and pull some out of the bag, mate.
Oh, 100%. And you're going to be there, Kenny. Champions League semi-final again.
I'll tell you one thing. My bank manager is having a heart attack. my wife's having a coronary. She's thinking, she's thinking, I don't know what you're earning, but I'll tell you one thing. I'm not going to keep on funding your extras. So,
right. Well, the extra is hopefully going to be in Budapest.
Well, she'll fund. Well, it's funny to say that because when we went to Paris 20 years ago, I paid for the ticket and my mother-in-law paid for my travel. So, big shout out to Kenny's mother-in-law for getting to Paris.
Yeah, I can't. Get home safely, mate. I'll show you Instagram. Kenny Ken 1972. I'm going live right now. Emergency meeting. 5 games from being the most successful season we've had in our club's history. Yeah, a league and the Champions League. Yeah, and that game on Tuesday. Oh my days. Yeah, that's going to be fireworks. There's going to be headache. It's going to be the longest 90 minutes of football you've watched for a long time, Kenny.
Would it be impersonal of me, and probably with presumptions of me to say that we're actually going to be taking more notice of events at the Dickey on Monday Night Football than Madrid at home? Am I? Is it a presumption? An assumption, or are we just going to say, well, stuff it? We're not going to care.
Listen, Atleti are a weird team. Kenny, Atleti are a weird team.
What I meant by, remember, Man City are playing Everton at Dickey on Monday, and would we be having one eye on Man City at Dickey, or are we going to think, right, we've done our job, over to you, let's concentrate on Madrid? We're going to have one eye.
Every Arsenal fan's going to have one eye on that game on Monday.
And whenever we do our show on a Monday, you're probably going to want to finish at 8:00 sharpish to watch that.
Is that what time it's on?
It's 8 o'clock.
It's 9 o'clock kickoff my time.
It's 8 o'clock British summertime, mate. You know the drill.
Yeah, and do you know what's crazy though? Even if they win, I think they will beat Everton. Yeah, like you said, they got a great record against them. Yeah. Now we can go, cool. Well, there's another sucker punch because now we're in the Champions League final. We can do that the next day. That might boost them and say, well, look, they're going to have one eye on that final. But that final ain't until after the season ends, Kenny.
Well, the thing about it is that Man City, remember, they got their own kind of trip. They got their own sort of multi-trophy season. Remember, they won the Carabao Cup. They want to win the league championship, and also they got the FA Cup. So, the traditional juggle is something they did in 2019, and I believe they want to do that again. So you think about it, it hasn't been a vintage season for everything. Both Man City and Arsenal sides are not of the calibre of the 2019 Liverpool and Man City sides. However, it is where it is. We are where we are. No one's going to care about the calibres. They're only going to care about the results at the end of the season. And may the best team win, Lee.
Facts. Get them safely. Love you always, man. Have a nice bank holiday weekend. I'll see you Monday for the podcast, and we can dissect my striker properly.
Well, I was waiting for you to say that. Anyway, I've got to tell you something off there. You will laugh.
Yeah, go on. I get them safely. Listen, chat, we're out. Make sure you like the video. Yeah, make sure you follow Kenny Ken on Instagram, Kenny Ken 1972. And we'll be back on the podcast on Monday with Matty and DJ B. We're out.